Welcome to another episode of After Five, the podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube. Today we are at Taylor Smoke, and I have the privilege and the pleasure of being with my man Preston Gray, the owner and CEO of not just one location, but two in the Charlotte metro area. You got one location in Uptown Charlotte and another in Concord. And he's a Morehouse man. What more can you say about it? It's St. Patrick's Day, and it's his birthday. Have a shirt over there. We got a little gift from the After Five.
Do you?
Appreciate, yeah, we do.
Oh, yeah,
little gift for you, whatever. Look,
see, man, if y'all had told me, man, I'd have just wore this instead of this suit, man. I'd have been
no, you fly with the tape. We want to keep you fly. We want to keep you fly.
Well, I appreciate that, bro.
Yeah, you got to stay fly. So, tell us. You know, opening a cigar bar, there's a lot of business owners out there, but opening a cigar bar is a special niche.
Yeah.
What made you want to come, what made you just dream up that, I want to have my own cigar bar? Has it always been a passion of yours all your life?
Well, first of all, man, let me say thank y'all for coming and spending this time with me, man. I don't take this lightly. I mean, y'all could be anywhere talking to anybody, and y'all chose to be with me, and I appreciate that. So, the interesting thing is people are always a little bit surprised when I tell them I had no intention whatsoever of ever getting into the cigar business.
Wow.
But so I was in corporate America. I was executive with Michelin tire company, and I just enjoyed cigars. Mm-hmm. But I was also a serial entrepreneur on the side. I always had something going, man. I mean, I've done things like I had a booth at the flea market selling stuff. I sold cars. I've done everything. I've always had something on the side, but I had responsibility, so I had a job. Mm-hmm. Right? So back in, I guess it was around 2014, 2015, I used to go to this spot here in town and play poker. It was the only cigar bar in town with a full bar. And we played poker on Wednesday nights. Kind of a hole in the wall place. Well, one day this new cat came in. He was behind the counter, and I asked him about it. What he was doing. He was like, "Well, I'm the new partner. I'm about to turn this place around." So he, in fact, did turn the place around. A few months later, he was gone. So he calls me up one day out the blue. Asked me to sit down with him, and he says, "Hey, it didn't work out with me over at this spot, but I still want to open a nice lounge in Charlotte. Would you be willing to be my partner?" And I was like, "Why are you asking me to be your partner? I ain't never." And he was like, "Look, man, I've been watching your vibe or whatever. You're a serious businessman, stuff like that." And I was like, "Well, I'll do it under one condition. I handle all the money. All the money comes through me. Don't go through you, because the word on the street was this guy was a crook." Mm-hmm. But I knew from experience he knew how to run a damn cigar lounge. So we went into business. And, every time it was time to put money on the table, this dude had some kind of crisis. Didn't show up. Right. So I figured out pretty quickly that, he was full of shit. But during that time, I learned the business from him. Right. All right, so I do thank him for that. But I was still cool, man. I mean, I hadn't lost any money or whatever. But I had that itch now. Mm-hmm. And I met another guy. And this guy had a little business that had just started, and you could hire him to come to like your birthday party and set up and sell cigars and cut them like cigars, or wedding reception or something like that. And he wanted to open a website, and he didn't have the capital. So I made a deal with him. I agreed to finance the website for 40% of the business. So I was like, "Bet we own. I'm in the cigar business. I'm behind the scenes. I ain't doing nothing. I'm just letting my money work for me." Well, it took me about 6 weeks to figure out that this had to be one of the... Can you cuss on this podcast?
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
absolutely. Perfect.
After five.
This had to be one of the dumbest motherfuckers I've ever met. And I said, he got himself in a situation, a financial situation, and he was about to go to jail. And I said, "All right, check this out. I'll get you out of this, but you need to sign the company over to me." Well, of course, he signed the company over to me. And I took it over. And at the time, I was just in it to get my investment back. But we opened up the website a week after I took the company over, and the website was tailoredsmoke.com. And even in my logo, if you look at my logo now, you still see that little .com in there. So, now I'm going around doing birthday parties. I hooked up with the Omegas of Charlotte, and they have a tailgate for the Panthers every home game, and they hired me to start being their cigar guy. And that's kind of how I got my name out of Charlotte. Then CIAA, for those of y'all that don't know, CIAA is one hell of a basketball tournament. Used to be in Charlotte, now it's in Baltimore. But we have about 250,000 people come to town and party during CIAA. So we're at the location we're at now. It's called the Epicenter. The Epicenter in Charlotte is used to be the place to go. Bars, restaurants, everything. And the CIAA gathered here for the major parties. So I rented a kiosk outside in front of CVS to sell cigars off of. They had just started the kiosk program. I was the first person to ever run a kiosk. They didn't even have pricing. They said, just give me 10% of what you make. Bet. So that weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, selling cigars on the kiosk, we did some around 15, 16 grand. I was like, this works. Mm-hmm. And they came to me and they said, have you ever thought about doing something more permanent? Now remember, I got a corporate job. I was like, well, what you got? So they took me around to this little seating area right beside the valet parking. Outdoors, under the stairs, and they rented that to me. And that became Tailored Smoke Cigar Lounge. Now still, I was like, this is cool, but I'm not trying to replace my livelihood with it. And it started out, we opened Cinco de Mayo 2016, first day. Things started off with a bang. Kept going good, but then in September, there was a police shooting. Keith Lamont Scott got killed by the police, unarmed black man. Riots right out here up front. Completely destroyed my opportunity to do business for a couple of months. Wow. So when people started coming back out, it was cold. And I'm outside. So, I really wasn't doing well. So I'm sitting there December the 30th, 2016. I remember this because I was thinking about getting out of the business. I really didn't need it. I made my money back. Cool. Gave it a shot. So I get a call at 11:30 from the manager of the BLT restaurant at the Ritz-Carlton. He says, hey, Press, I know that you guys close at midnight, but I got some VIPs that would like to smoke cigars if you would be willing to stay open for them. Of course. And the whole time I'm thinking, who is that important that the manager from the Ritz-Carlton would walk them over personally? So they show up at midnight. Now mind you, at this very moment, I'm thinking about getting out of this business. Mm-hmm. They walk over at midnight. It's 6 guys. He points up at one and says, be good to him. It's his birthday. It was LeBron James.
Oh my goodness.
What's wrong with that?
Nice.
LeBron James, Tristan Thomas, a couple of coaches, a couple of bodyguards, and I was like, Lord, I hear you. If you people talking about I want a sign from God.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm sitting here thinking about folding up, going out of business, and LeBron James walks into my establishment outside under the stairs. Right. Who would ever dream that up? Right. And so that was kind of my inspiration to really keep going and keep pushing. Awesome. And every milestone, and I thank Lord for this. Every milestone that I've set for this business, we've achieved it at least a year early.
Man, wow, that's nice.
Shout out to LeBron for visiting Preston.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. That's inspiration.
I tell this story a lot. I wanted to get back to him so one day I can look at him in his face and say thank you.
Well, hopefully we can help that happen, brother. Absolutely.
Most definitely.
Hey, so when did this start? What? I know you had covered you had started, but when was the first year that you decided to open up that kiosk?
That was 2016. That was Cinco de Mayo 2016. We had a little kiosk, and it was just, we had the same couches I got on my patio out there today.
Oh, wow.
We had out there in that kiosk. I didn't even have a humidor, man. I had a china cabinet with some cigar boxes stacked in there with little humidifying packs inside the cigar boxes. We started very humbly. But over time, we provided this experience this vibe that people really like.
Right.
And we'd be packed out there.
Right.
And the restaurant next door, we kind of had a little deal with them that they would let people smoke cigars on their patio, and people could buy drinks and drink on their patio and smoke cigars. There would be some Friday, Saturday nights that their entire patio was my customers.
Wow.
And it just kept going. And at one point, this in 2017, I started to notice there was a restaurant here at the Epicenter that wasn't doing well. I mean, everywhere else would be packed. They have 4 or 5 people in here on a Friday, Saturday night. So I peeped that, and I started going upstairs to the leasing office and saying, hey, I don't think they're going to make it. And if they don't make it, I want a shot at their space.
Right.
And they were like, fuck out of here. Because my rent at the kiosk under the stairs was $750 a month.
Oh, you can't beat it.
The rent in the restaurant was $10,250 a month.
Right.
And I kept saying, look, I can handle it. And they're like, fuck out of here.
Right.
We talking big boy business.
Right.
Like, okay, so I kept going. CIAA 2018 rolls around. Restaurant's out of business. The space is empty. They call me on Monday afternoon. CIAA parties start on Thursday typically. Call me on Monday afternoon. They said, you know what? We're going to give you a shot on this space. You can use it during CIAA. We'll make you the same deal. You just give us 10% of what you bring in. And after the weekend, if you show that you can handle it, then we'll have a conversation about giving you a lease. So we went to work. Me and my general manager, we went to work. We worked 20-hour days because the place was still a restaurant. It had all the restaurant shit in here.
Right.
So we had to convert a restaurant to a cigar lounge in basically 72 hours.
Dang.
But we did it. Now, it didn't look this nice. But we did it.
Put the work.
CIAA came, had an awesome weekend. On Monday, I went upstairs and I gave them a check for $6,500. We had done $65,000 in 4 days.
Wow.
And they were like, needless to say, we ain't never left this motherfucker.
See that?
Nah.
See that?
Wow.
So that's nice. Did you have to go to school, or is it any school for this, or you just step into the business?
So there is training for it. I kind of learned through experience. All right. And then I was already a cigar smoker. I enjoy cigars. But there is an online course called Tobacconist University. It's free.
Really?
Yeah, it's free.
You definitely need to get on that.
The only thing you have to pay for is if you want to become a certified tobacconist, there's an exam you have to take, and you have to pay to take that exam. But all of the material, all the study guide is free. Yeah. So
Never knew that.
So I read magazine articles, and I spend a lot of time going to Miami, going to Vegas, to the trade shows, and sitting down one-on-one with the cigar manufacturers, getting to know them, building relationships with them. I just came back from Honduras. I took 10 people down to Honduras. We went to Oscar Valadares' farm down there. Saw it from the seed to the leaves to everything till you smoke it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we went through the whole process.
He's serious about it.
Yeah. So I'm always trying to build those relationships and learn more, be abreast of what's new coming out. And I got a great right hand man. His name is Louis. This dude is like a savant when it comes to cigars, So I mean, talking to him is like an encyclopedia. For those of us old enough to remember what the fuck is encyclopedia.
Right.
Right.
Man, wow.
Now, when did cigars become a passion for you?
Let's see. So, I was a young engineer. Man, this had to be 96, 97. I was a young engineer. I went on a business trip down to Orlando. It was November. It was cold and rainy up here in South Carolina where I was staying. But Orlando was nice. And I was at this park. It was a park or something. It was a live band out there. And there was a cigar shop right there. And I saw people smoking cigars. I was like, man, that just looks dope. I mean, that looks dope. So I went in. I didn't even know you had to cut it. I ain't know nothing. I was like your man trying to puff on it with no cut. But they educated me on what to do, and I sat there and I smoked that cigar, and it just kind of transcended me to a different place of peace. I mean, it was just like the nicest moment. Now, at the time, I couldn't afford to smoke cigars very often. So, I might get a cigar once every other month or something like that. Had I had a young family, small kids. My wife wasn't really feeling it, but I would do it every now and then. So, but when I really started smoking cigars a lot, so with my job, I ended up moving to France, working at the corporate headquarters. And the role I had at the time, I was traveling all over the world. I was gone 3 out of 4 weeks a month. So when I would go places, work during the day, they would take me out to dinner at night, and I always have a cigar after dinner and just kind of walk around and explore wherever I was. And that's when I really got the passion where, okay, I smoke cigars every day now. Right. And it just kind of grew from that.
Just came full circle for you. Basically,
yeah, it did.
It went from a passion to a business.
Yeah, absolutely.
Steady growing. That's a good thing.
Steady growing, yeah.
Steady growing.
Absolutely. And you kind of went over how you already kind of got started in the business. Like what would you think, or what would you suggest, would be maybe a first step for somebody who maybe wanted to, kind of get started, or just even, who was interested in, maybe even learn about cigars, or what would you suggest?
So for somebody who wants to get into business, spoiler alert, shameless plug coming. Go to taylorsmoke.com/franchising, because I also have a franchising company, and I'm selling Taylor Smoke franchises to where I actually bring you into the fold and walk you through personally to become a Taylor Smoker. And I've already got all the connections with the I've done all the heavy lifting. I've made all the stupid mistakes. I fell in all the pitfalls.
Preach.
And you ain't got to do none of that.
Right.
Preach.
If you're serious about wanting to get in the cigar business and you ready to work, because it ain't easy. I make it look easy. I walk around here and soon I smoke cigars. And
he's clean too, y'all.
Clean.
But trust and believe. I'm always looking and I'm always correcting. So, my business has grown. I started off with the little kiosk. No, I started off with the Omegas selling cigars at the tailgate.
Right.
Kiosk to here, open Concord. Last year, I opened a distribution warehouse where I actually sell cigars to other lounges. And last year, I also started the franchising company. And right now, we actually have 6 franchises sold. And the first one will have its soft opening invitation only tomorrow in Hickory, North Carolina.
Oh, man. That's impressive.
That's impressive.
Wow. We might have to get an after 5 while started.
That'll work.
Yeah. We might have to talk off camera.
How about that? Okay, all right. Now we're going to focus on the cigar.
Mm-hmm.
What's the difference in the cut? Is the smaller smooth, or the big one just more smoke?
Okay. Yes, but let me break it down a little bit for you. There are several different types of cuts, but in the standard in the industry, there are 3 what people would consider standard cuts. The first cut is a straight cut, and the anatomy of a cigar a little bit. There on the end of a cigar, when they make the cigar, they put a little piece of tobacco on the tip. It's called a cap, and it seals the cigar. All right. So in order to smoke a cigar, you've got to pierce that cap. All right. So a straight cut, it cuts just straight across, and it opens it up the widest. So you're going to have the most airflow. It's going to burn a little bit hotter, burn a little bit faster, but you'll get the full flavor.
Right.
All right. And so the first time I have a cigar, like a new cigar come out, and I really want to analyze it on my palate, I do a straight cut.
Oh,
all right.
Okay.
The next cut is the V cut, and that's what I'm smoking. V cuts are very popular right now in the industry, but it's just a slit that's cut down the middle of the cigar. It restricts the airflow a little bit, burns a little bit slower, burns a little bit cooler, and it also is a little bit cleaner, so you don't have as many tobacco remnants that may end up in your mouth, on your teeth, or whatever. And then finally, the last standard cut is a punch cut, And it's just a little circle that's punctured in the middle of that cap. It has the most restrictive airflow. It's the cleanest cut. It burns the slowest. And at the end of the day, there's not one that's better than the other. It's just all about personal preference.
Great. So, I don't know if you noticed, but my personal observation has been a lot of women now have gotten into cigar smoking and lounging. You know, a lot of women out here, like, they want to come out and have cigars. Why do you think that's a new trend?
So, you know, that is a great observation. Women, especially black women, are the fastest growing demographic in the cigar industry. So companies are now starting to do things to target black women, women in general, black women specifically. So I think, you know, there are women, and these women are not, trust and believe, they're not coming out so that they can just find a man with a cigar.
Right.
No, we got some real serious sisters at the Leaf out here. We got some sisters that can smoke some stuff stronger and heavier than I can.
Right.
You know, it's a mistake to think that if a woman comes in, you got to give her a sweet cigar. Yeah, I can't tell you how many of my cigar tenders got cussed out because they tried that. Oh, you're a woman, you want a sweet cigar. And, you know, cigars as a lifestyle is just a relaxing lifestyle.
It is.
Cigar
It
lounges
is.
are designed for people to connect and have communication. Where else do you think about that you go that is designed for people to interact and communicate? If you go to a restaurant, yeah, you can communicate during dinner, but once you finish that dinner, they want you to get the hell on.
That's
Yeah.
right.
You know, they want to turn that table over.
Right.
You know,
right.
as long as you smoking and drinking, you can sit in a cigar lounge
Oh.
for 8-10 hours. You can sit there all night. And it's designed for that. And so I think women have discovered what a lot of men, especially older white dudes, have known for a long time. That it's just a chill spot to relax and think and communicate. But yeah, it is definitely a mistake to think, if you see a woman in a cigar bar, to think that they just there to pick up a dude or go get hit on. That's the quickest way to get cussed out.
Right.
It is.
So you broke down the V cuts, you broke down the straight cuts, you know, you've broken that down. Is there a difference in the color of a cigar? Does that make a difference as far as if I see that you guys got a darker one, I got a blonder one. Is there a difference in taste? Is there a difference in texture?
Okay, great question. So we classify at Taylor Smoke, and I would say in general the industry, cigars in kind of 4 different flavor classifications. We have a mild cigar, which means the taste of it is light, not too heavy, not a lot of pepper and spice. Then you have a medium, which steps it up a little bit more, and then you have a full body. Right? Now the color of the leaf. So I'm trying to figure out how to not get too technical. So you have different tobacco plants. All right? Just like, so a tree is a tree, but you got a pine tree, an oak tree, but they all trees. Okay, so tobacco is the same way. You have a Corojo plant, that's a type of tobacco plant. You have a Habano, you have a Connecticut, you have all these different types of plants, and then on the plant, there are 3 zones from the plant that they pull the leaves from, and those 3 zones. So different plants have different characteristics, and then each zone of the plant has different characteristics. The top of the plant, the top third of the plant, those leaves are called the harrow. The harrow gets the most sun, the most nutrients, and it has the most nicotine. It's the strongest in feeling. Okay, and then you have Viso. Viso is the next level, and then the bottom level you have Seco. And so most of let me back up, do a little bit more education. A cigar has 3 components. All right. What you see on the outside is called the wrapper, all right? And then underneath the wrapper, well, let me explain it from the inside out. So on the inside, the most tobacco that you see, that is called filler tobacco. Most filler tobacco is going to be Viso and Seco, all right? Because the appearance of Viso and Seco leaves are not as pretty, all right? But they have combustion characteristics, flavor characteristics, and that's how blenders use to blend a cigar and give it a unique flavor. And then after that, you have the binder, and the binder wraps that filler and holds it together.
Right.
And then they put it on press, and they pull it out of the press. Then they put the wrapper on it. The wrapper is generally the most beautiful leaf that they have of that type. Now, colors. Color of the leaf of the finished wrapper is a characteristic of the type of tobacco and the aging and fermentation process. You may have heard of people saying, I like a Maduro. A Maduro is a very dark wrapper, but it doesn't mean it's the strongest. What it means, though, Maduro in Spanish means ripe. So they basically age that leaf almost to the point of fermentation. All right, and so it has a lot of flavor to it. In general, a rule of thumb, and this is probably true for about 70% of cigars. The lighter the leaf, the milder the cigar. The darker the leaf, the stronger the cigar. Now that's not true for 100%, but it's a good rule of thumb because it's true for about 70%. So you have full body cigars, medium body cigars, mild body cigars, and infused cigars. Infused cigars is still a premium cigar, but it's had some herbs and spices or whatever else added to it and infused into the tobacco to give it kind of a sweeter flavor. I think you guys are smoking the Fat Bottom Betty. Those are infused. Those are infused. Still premium, top quality cigar, but they just have a little something added, and it's all natural.
Right. Okay. Okay.
That's the case. Like I said, we're smoking a Fat Bottom Betty. You're smoking a Blondie.
Yeah, I'm smoking an acid blonde.
So I gotta ask you, Preston, what is your favorite cigar and why?
The one I'm smoking at the moment.
And what are you smoking?
You know what I'm saying? Whatever. I smoke so many cigars.
Okay, I get
you know,
Yeah.
Great answer.
Great answer.
I get that question a lot, but for me that's a very difficult question. I smoke 5 or 6 cigars a day, so you know I like a lot of cigars. There's certain brands that I really enjoy. I'm smoking a Plasencia. Plasencia, I love them because they've only been making cigars for about 5 or 6 years, but they've been growing tobacco for 160 years. And for the first 4 generations of the family, they did not want to make cigars because they did not want to compete against their customers.
Right.
70% of cigars that have Nicaraguan tobacco in it has tobacco from Plasencia. So it all starts with the leaf. And so they are experts in growing this product. So any cigar that Plasencia makes, I'm going to smoke it because the foundational product, the leaf, they're experts in. So I smoke a lot of Plasencia. Espinosa, great guy out of Miami, Cuban guy, Eric Espinosa. He makes just one hell of a line of cigars. Drew Estate. I love Drew Estate cigars. Oscar Valladores. He is the fastest growing cigar company in the world. I told you I was just down in Honduras with Oscar and his team. Oscar actually has made a couple of unique special cigars just for Taylor Smoke that you can only get at Taylor Smoke.
Nice.
Oh, we gotta get one.
Yeah.
Plug, gotta put that in there.
And so those are kind of my go-to brands. My Father cigars.
Heard of my father.
Yeah, I mean those are kind of my go-to brands. Over the course of the 6 or 7 cigars a day, I'll probably have at least one of those in there.
Now, for someone that's never smoked, you got a beginner in here, and they say, you know, they see this podcast, or they seen their friend or whatever, or they go out to work and they say, it looks cool, I want to smoke a cigar, but I've never smoked one before, whether it be male or female. What would you recommend?
So we love first-time smokers here. So I don't know if you notice our setup. It's a little different than the average cigar lounge. Average cigar lounge, they have a humidor that you walk in and you kind of pick a cigar. You know, there may or may not be somebody there to help you. So my cigars are behind the bar. So I have a liquor bar and I have bartenders that serve the liquor. I have a cigar bar and I have cigar tenders to serve the cigars. So what the cigar tender will do, and you guys should have experienced this today.
Absolutely.
They will have a conversation with you to try to size up your palate, to see where you are. Are you an experienced smoker? Do you want something infused? Do you want? And they kind of size you up, and then they choose 2 or 3 cigars to recommend to you that we think you'll enjoy. And then with new cigar smokers, they go a step further and they explain the mechanics of smoking the cigar.
Nice.
Like number one rule, don't inhale. You know, if you smoke cigar like you smoke weed or you smoke a cigarette, within 20 minutes you're gonna be throwing up in front of everybody, because this is a lot of smoke, a lot of nicotine in this product, and so you don't inhale that into your lungs. You just bring it in, puff it, and let it out. And we teach people that, so that's how we take care of first-time cigar smokers.
And if you follow me on social media, you've seen me in here smoking, and they've always taken great care of me. They recommended this Fat Bottom Betty to me, and I absolutely love it.
And you know, we have an informal rule here that if we recommend somebody a cigar and we go back and check on them and they don't like it, we take it, we throw it away, we give them something else.
And that's a guarantee for you.
Man, that's guaranteed.
Can't lose.
That's a great guarantee.
Now look, that's being reasonable. Don't come in here just trying shit and get all my cigars for free. Now,
Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. All right, I got another. This is what I want to know.
Okay.
What can people expect when they come to Taylor Smoke Cigar and Lounge?
Another great question. Man, y'all got some great questions.
Yeah.
So, the name Tailored Smoke implies something. It implies that the experience you're going to get is tailored to you. That's why I have cigar tenders.
Love it.
You know, it's not a broad breaststroke. We recommend the same thing to everybody.
Right.
You know, we greet you when you come in. We talk to you at the cigar bar. We talk to you at the liquor bar. We want to make sure you get a good pairing. Want to make sure you're having a good time. Once you become a member of Tailored Smoke, so Tailored Smoke Cigar Lounge is for the exclusive use of members of the Tailored Smoke Cigar Club. So when you sign up that membership, you become a part of Tailored Smoke Cigar Club.
Nice.
And it is our goal and our mission to make sure that you have a great time and your experience is catered and tailored to you for what you need at that moment. You know, sometimes people come in after they have achieved something great and in a celebratory fashion. So guess what? We're going to celebrate with you. Sometimes people come in, they just had a hard week and they just need to blow off some steam. We're going to let you sit over in the corner. We don't have nobody bother you. We're going to let you decompress the way you need to decompress. You know, we really try to pay attention to each and every person who walks in and tailor that experience to them. So that's what you should expect at Tailored Smoke. You know, I tell my staff all the time, we do not sell liquor and cigars. We sell an experience. People, and we need to give an experience that people will come back for, and they have to come here to get it.
Love it.
Love that.
Love it.
Wow. So it's safe to say Taylor Smoke go hand in hand with the After 5 experience. And for those of you that follow us in our podcast, you always know what I say. After 5 is about the grown folks conversation. You just got off work. It's about having your favorite beverage, smoking, in this case, smoking your favorite cigar if you smoke, unwind and decompress just as Preston has demonstrated for you. So, you know, we're sponsored by Taylor Smoke Cigar this week, and this is our After 5 business of the week. You have any closing comments for us?
Oh wow, man! I'm honored to be a part of this, man. I really appreciate you reaching out to me. We've been blessed to really grow, man. I left my corporate job December 31st, 2019, and I was an executive. I mean, I was
carry
good.
yourself like one.
Yeah. I like you, Taylor.
Very professional. This conversation's been awesome. So.
Thank you. So I left that and kind of, my kids are grown, so I stepped out to do this full time, and it's just been a blessing. So we've been blessed. We have over 65,000 members at Taylor Smoke.
Nice.
We're growing, and we just want to make an impact in this industry and let people know that they got a home to come to whenever they want to come and relax and be treated like family.
Man,
Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yes, sir.
2 locations.
Epic Center.
Epic Center and Concord.
That's right.
Yep, and Concord.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. I think we skipped that. You do have another location. Can you kind of shout out both locations for us so the people know exactly where to go when they come to Charlotte and want to visit?
Okay, great. So our website is tailoredsmoke.com. Get all the information there. The location here. So where we are now, guys, it used to be called the Epicenter. But after COVID, it went through some changes, new owners. They changed the name to the Queen City Quarter. All right, so we are at the Queen City Quarter now, 210 East Trade Street, Charlotte, North Carolina. And then my second location is in Concord, which is about 20 minutes north of here, next to Concord Mills Mall. And that's 8633 Concord Mills Boulevard. And both, I encourage you to go to both, and as our franchises start to open, visit them, because what I'm telling my franchisees is every tailored smoke doesn't have to look the same. You can put your touch on it. But every tailored smoke has to feel the same.
That's right.
When you walk in, you have to feel that feeling and that experience that you get at tailored smoke, and that's what I'm teaching my franchisees to do as well.
Awesome.
Nice.
Well, Preston, we want to thank you so much for this opportunity to experience Tailored Smoke After 5 with you.
All right. Appreciate it, man. You hear the music queuing up just like
Music queuing up. We about to party. We about to turn up. You might get some scenes from that. Like I said, happy birthday, by the way. Happy birthday. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Cheers to you. Happy St. Patrick's Day. You already know how to reach us. We on Instagram, Ali After 5 on Instagram. aliafter5@gmail.com if you want to get some of our merchandise and reach us. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You never know when we're going to pop up. Till then, take care, be safe out there.
And you're not getting mine.
Yeah, let's go.
Man, that was good, man.
What you think about that?
Appreciate it.